This is the second part of Lesson 12 from a Grammar for Biblical Hebrew, and we are looking at putting pronominal suffixes onto nouns. Here, we're working with a noun that is feminine singular, and it's marked as feminine singular. Susa. It means mare, as in female horse. We saw in an earlier lesson that the construct form of susa would be susat, just as the construct form of Torah is Torat, that of Chokmah is Chokmat, and that now we see that we're adding our pronouns, his mare, her mare, your mare, onto that construct form. And that's why we get forms like his mare, susato, her mare, susata, your mare, susatcha, and so on. You can see that we're having to distinguish carefully between the gender and number of the noun, in this case feminine singular, and the person, gender, and number of the suffix, such as the third masculine singular, his mare, susato. So my mare, susati, their mare, susatam, their mare, susatan, susatchem, your mare, susatchen, your mare, and finally our mare, susatenu. Compared to, remember, our stallion, susenu, but our mare, susatenu. So there's that feminine tav showing us that the noun is feminine singular. What if, though, we're talking about multiple mares? Well, an interesting thing happens. Susat, mare of, right? Susa is mare, but how do you say mares? Susot. Susot. And so throughout this paradigm, when we're looking at a feminine plural noun, we'll see that it's susot. But then an interesting thing happens. The suffixes are added along with, in the form, with that plural yod that we saw in the other paradigm, right? So you might expect, for this first one, his mares, you might expect simply susato, susato, susoto. Let's look at that last frame again to show you what I mean. His mare, feminine singular, susato. So you might expect that when susa becomes susot, that it would just be susoto. But it's not. It's susotav. See, we're using the forms of the suffixes that we put on prepositions like el, toward him, a lav, toward her, a leha, toward you, a lecha, and so on. So let's read through them with some care. His mares, susotav. Her mares, susoteha. Your mares, susotecha. Your mares, if you are a single feminine one, susotayech. My mares, susotai, not susoti, susotai. The mares are plural. Their mares, susotehem, or susotehen. Y'all's mares, susotechem, or susotechen, and our mares, susotenu. What do they all have in common? the nouns are marked twice for being plural. Once with the ot ending, and once with the yod that sits between plural nouns and their suffixes. So let's practice some. Translate davar means word. Translate devaro. How many words? Just one word, because there's no yod marker. Whose word? His word. Adon means Lord. So translate adono. Well, just as with devaro, his Lord. Shana is a noun that means year. Shanato. Shanato. How many years? In just 1 year, because shanat is the construct form of shana. And whose year is it? It's his year. Devaro, his word. Odono, his Lord. Shanato, his year. Goel means avenger or redeemer. Goalo, goalo. How many goels? Just one. No yod marker before the suffix. Whose redeemer? His redeemer. Devaro, adono, shanato, goalo. His whatever. What about devari? Well, the e suffix means it's mine. My word. Tzidkata. Tzidkata. Well, we see from the tav that something's trying to be feminine there. So what is tzedakah? Tzedakah is righteousness. So whose righteousness? Her righteousness. Tzidkata. What about devarav? Devarav. Just one word? No, plural words, because we have the yod marker before the suffix. So whose words? His words. The vav is the marker of the third masculine singular pronoun. His words. Divreichen. How many words? Plural words, because of the yod marker. Whose words are they? They are the words of chen. Y'all, feminine plural. Your words, feminine. Beito. What is beit the construct form of? Beit is the construct form of bayit. So whose house is this? His house. Just one house or plural houses? Just one house. There's no yod marker for the plural. His house. Mishpato. Well, you can see from the O that it's certainly his something. His what? His mishpat. His judgment, or his justice. Shimcha. Shimcha. What do you think shim is a reduced form of? Shame means name. Whose name is it? Shimcha. Your name. Masculine singular. Your name. As in, Ma shimcha. What is your name? Bincha. If shimcha is your name, bincha is your bain, your son. Devareinu. Devareinu. Well, the ending nu reminds us of anachnu. It's our something. Davar is word. How many words? Is it just one word or is it plural words? Just one word. No yod marker. Devareinu. Our word. Moti. Well, the E ending means that it's my something. What is mot the construct form of? Hopefully you remember that something goes to O. Ave goes to O. Mavet is the noun. Death. My death. Moti. What about geminate nouns? Well, you'll remember that geminate nouns show their gemination when they're suffixed. So am is people, plural, amim, showing the doubling. Aim is mother, plural, immote, showing the gemination. Huk is statute, statutes, hukim, showing the doubling. And of course, any compensatory lengthening from the undoubled form, aim and huk, is reduced. So, what would you do with huki? That's very simple. Geminates show their gemination when they're suffixed, and all of these pronouns are suffixes. So, huki, my statute. And the root is clear. Immo, the root is clear. It's aim, his mother. Amma, the root is clear. It's the noun am. Whose people? Her people. Amav. Now, okay. How many peoples? Not just one people, multiple peoples. Like the people Israel, the people Moab, the people Edom. Put them all together, you've got all the peoples. Whose peoples? His peoples. Amav. We know it's plural because of the yod marker. Imchem. That's still aim, mother. Whose mother is it now? The mother of Chem, the mother of Y'all. Amayich. Amayich. Got the yod marker, so it's peoples again. Whose peoples are they? You, feminine singular. Your peoples. Hukehem. We see that the huk is plural, right? The plural form of huk is hukim, of hok is hukim, statutes. And the construct form then, hukei. So it's the statutes of them, their statutes, hukehem. Imenu. Well, it belongs to us because it's new, like anachnu. How many mothers? Just one mother, because there's no yod marker. Our mother, the one mother that we share. How about segolets? Segolets aren't hard. They show their original vowel when they're suffixed. So, malki, my king. Malkeinu, now whose king is it? Our king. How about this? Mulachai. Mulachai. What was the difference between Susi and Susai? Susi was my horse. Susai, my horses. So here, malachai, my kings. Remember, you can't get an intervening yod marker because the suffix itself is a yod. So it's just the vowel change that tips us off. Bugadecha. Bugadecha. Well, you know that it belongs to you, masculine singular. That's the cha. Does that thing that belongs to you, is it singular or plural? It's plural. So you would look in your BDB for a noun of the root beit gimel dalet, right, whose suffixed form looks like this. And you would find beged, the singular noun meaning clothing, your garments. Construct form bigdei, garments of, but with some vowel changes in these suffixed forms. Chodsho. Whose chodesh is this? Whose new moon? Whose chodesh? His or its new moon. Ozneich. See the kametz chatuf. Ozneich. Whose ozen? Your ozen. You, feminine singular. Your ear. Sifreichen. Well, you may remember sefer means scroll or book. How many scrolls or books? Plural, because of the yod marker. Sifrei. They are the scrolls of y'all, feminine plural. Y'all's books. Chasdo. Chasdo. Whose chesed? His chesed. His covenant faithfulness. Just to look at a few third week nouns, because they call for some special attention, and you'll see why here. Noun av means father, and you may have seen its construct form, avi. Note the shva, avi. Ach is brother, but brother of is achi. Peh is mouth, but mouth of is just p. What's going to happen when we try to put suffix? You can see the problem. We've got this e ending, but what happens if we want to say my father, my brother, or my mouth? As well as the other suffixes. Here we go. Avihu, his father. See that hu ending? These end in a vowel, and so the suffix will begin with a consonant. Hu is a nice consonantal form of the suffix. You might also see the form aviv, with just the vav acting as the third masculine singular suffix. Aviv, but here avihu. What would you do with avotenu? Well, enu is our something. Avot is fathers. Our fathers. Piha. P means mouth of. So this is the mouth of her. Her mouth. Piryo. Piryo. Well, puri means fruit or fruit of. So piryo, his or its fruit. Uvihem. Whose of? Their father. Note the yod here. This is not the yod that marks a plural father, right? This is just the construct form of father is avi, and that's the yod you're seeing here. Look up and to the right, and you'll remember what happens when it's fathers. It's avotenu. So here, their fathers would be avotehem, right? Avotehem. Piryi. Well, if piryo is his or its fruit, piryi, whose fruit? My fruit. How about just peeve? Peeve. His mouth. It wouldn't surprise me to see another form, pihu, his mouth. But here, peeve, his mouth. Achicha. Achicha. How many brothers are we dealing with? Just one brother, because the suffixed form, the construct form of brother is achi. And here, achicha, your brother. Achinu, our brother. Again, the brother is singular. The yod is just part of the construct form of ach, achi. Avi, my father, just as you would expect. Compare this to the construct form avi with just a shva at the beginning. Avi, father of. Avi, my father. Always look that up in the BDB if you're not sure what you're dealing with, but context should certainly make it clear. And then some final frame of exceptions to look at, mostly with feminine forms here. Isha, you know, of course, is wife or woman. Ishti, my wife. The construct form of wife is eshit. Eshit. So here, ishti, my wife. Note the loss of the doubling of the shin. Note the feminine tav that seems to come a little bit out of nowhere. You know, it doesn't come out of nowhere. It's from the at, but it's not ati. Right? The whole form is irregular. Ishto, his wife. Or daughter, bat. But my daughter, biti. Not bati, but biti. With doubling of the tav. His daughter, bitto. Very worthwhile to know these.